You clicked on this video today, and that isn't a coincidence. In this very moment, something within you has already begun to shift. Maybe you sensed a subtle pull, a quiet knowing that guided your fingers straight to this content. Maybe it felt stronger, like a sudden urge to look for answers you can't yet put into words. What if I told you that simply being here, taking in these words, means you've already crossed a threshold? What if the reality you knew yesterday has already started to dissolve, making space for something entirely new? This isn't about wishful thinking or positive mantras. It's about recognizing that consciousness operates through frequencies, and when your frequency changes, everything around you starts reorganizing itself to match. The people you meet, the opportunities that appear, the ideas that suddenly make sense, they all shift when you do. Lately, you may have noticed small signs, conversations that seem uncannily relevant to your situation, books or videos showing up at just the right moment, even dreams that feel more real than your waking hours. These aren't accidents. They're breadcrumbs leading you toward a version of yourself that has been waiting for this moment of recognition. Your old reality ran on a set of rules. You operated within certain limits, believed certain things about what was possible for your life, and accepted specific patterns as fixed. But recently, a crack formed, didn't it? A moment of clarity, a sudden change in perspective, or maybe just a growing restlessness with how things have been. That crack is where the light gets in. It's where the new reality starts to seep through. And once you see it, once you truly understand what's happening, there's no going back to the old way of being. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how this transition works, why it's happening now, and what you can do to step fully into this new version of your life. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel. And if you're ready to fully move into this new reality and leave your old limitations behind, write this in the comments. I crossed the threshold. That simple act of declaration helps lock in your intention and lets the universe know you're serious about this transformation. Most people expect transformation to arrive with fireworks and fanfare. The truth is far more subtle. Real change happens in whispers, not shouts. It begins in those quiet moments when you notice you're thinking differently about something that seemed stone solid before. Have you noticed yourself questioning things you never questioned? Maybe you've been looking at your daily routine and wondering why you've been doing certain things for so long. Maybe you've started to feel differently about relationships, career choices, or even how you spend your free time. These aren't random thoughts. They're signals that your consciousness is expanding beyond its previous boundaries. The rational mind loves to dismiss these shifts as temporary moods or phases you're going through. But your deeper awareness knows better. It detects that something fundamental in the background of your experience is restructuring itself. The quiet turning point happens when your future self starts communicating with who you are right now. It shows up as a growing sense that you're destined for something different, something that fits more with who you're becoming than who you've been. This isn't about dissatisfaction with your current life. It's about realizing you've outgrown certain patterns and limitations. You may find yourself drawn to different content, different conversations, different ways of spending your time. Old friendships might feel strained, while new connections appear effortlessly. Books that once bored you suddenly hold your full attention. Places you've visited countless times feel different now, as if you're seeing them with fresh eyes. This is your inner navigation system recalibrating. Your consciousness is tuning its frequency, and everything in your outer world will eventually have to harmonize with that new frequency. The turning point is not something you force or manufacture. It's something you notice and honor when it arrives. The most powerful shifts happen when you stop trying to control the process and start trusting that your awareness knows exactly what it's doing. Your job isn't to figure everything out right now. Your job is to notice what's changing and allow it to unfold naturally. Reality has always been far richer than what your previous level of awareness could perceive. Think of it like adjusting the contrast on a photo. Suddenly, details that were always there become visible and clear. What you're experiencing now isn't the creation of new possibilities, but the recognition of possibilities that have always existed. Your perception works like a filter system, and until recently, certain bands of information simply couldn't get through. Now, those filters are being recalibrated, and you're starting to notice things happening around you that were previously invisible to the conscious mind. Are you catching nuances in conversations you used to miss? Can you sense the energy of places and situations in ways that feel almost psychic? Do you find yourself knowing things without knowing how you know them? This expanded perception isn't supernatural. It's natural. You're simply accessing more of your inborn capacity to read the field of information surrounding every moment. Some call it intuition. Others call it heightened awareness. No matter what label you use, the experience is undeniable. You might notice yourself predicting phone calls before they happen, or thinking about someone moments before you unexpectedly run into them. You may find yourself avoiding certain routes or situations for no logical reason, only to discover later that your intuition steered you away from something unpleasant. These aren't coincidences or lucky guesses. They're evidence that your consciousness is operating from a broader vantage point than before. You're accessing information from what scientists call the quantum field, the underlying matrix of possibilities that exist beyond the measurable physical world you can touch and see. The key is learning to trust these new layers of perception without trying to dissect them to death. Your logical mind will want to explain everything, categorize every experience, and assign rational reasons for what you feel. But some aspects of expanded awareness work best when you simply acknowledge them and allow them to guide you naturally. The more you honor these subtle impressions, the stronger and more reliable they become. You're cultivating a new kind of intelligence, one that functions through feeling and knowing, rather than thinking and analyzing. This doesn't replace your rational mind. It adds another dimension to the way you move through life. Your inner state broadcasts a signal to the world around you, and that signal draws in experiences, people, and opportunities that match its frequency. This isn't a metaphysical theory. It's an observable reality once you know what to look for. When your energy shifts, everything around you begins to reorganize accordingly. Conversations you overhear become more relevant to what you're dealing with. Articles and videos in your social feeds seem to speak directly to your current focus. Even chance encounters start carrying messages that feel tailor-made for you. This happens because consciousness operates on the principle of resonance. Like attracts like, not just in terms of positive or negative thinking, but in terms of the specific frequency you emit through the blend of your thoughts, emotions, and expectations. You've likely experienced the reverse when you were in a low state. Everything felt off. People were tougher to deal with, and obstacles popped up wherever you turned. That wasn't bad luck. It was your energy field drawing in experiences that matched your internal frequency. Now, something different is unfolding. As your consciousness expands into this new reality, your energetic signature broadcasts a new signal. You begin to attract people who see possibilities where others see problems. You find resources and information that perfectly support your growth. You're invited into situations that challenge you in precisely the ways you need to be stretched. What makes this process so remarkable is how effortless it feels when you're in sync with it. Instead of pushing and forcing things to happen, you increasingly find yourself in the right place at the right time. Doors open that you didn't even know existed. Solutions appear for problems you've wrestled with for months or years. This isn't about becoming passive and waiting for life to happen to you. It's about learning to work with the flow of energy, rather than against it. When your actions align with your elevated inner state, you stop being a victim of circumstance and become a powerful co-creator of your experience. The secret is maintaining that elevated frequency, even when your outer conditions haven't caught up yet. Your new reality is formed in the quantum field before it shows up in the physical world. Your job is to hold steady in the energy of what's emerging, rather than slipping back into the patterns of what has been. As Joe Dispenza teaches, through our focus and emotional state, we continually collapse different quantum possibilities into our lived reality. Every moment offers an infinite range of potential outcomes, and what becomes your experience depends on where you place your attention and which emotions you attach to that attention. What you're experiencing right now is a conscious quantum leap between realities. Your old reality was built on certain beliefs about what was possible for you, certain emotional patterns that kept you locked into familiar experiences, and certain thought loops that generated predictable day-to-day results. But consciousness has the power to collapse entirely new possibilities into being. When you combine clear intention with elevated emotion, when you feel genuine gratitude, excitement, or love in the present while holding the future you desire, you literally pull that future possibility into your current timeline. This isn't visualization or fantasy. It's quantum mechanics applied to personal transformation. You're not trying to change your outer world through willpower or positive thinking. You're changing the inner frequency you operate on and letting the outer world reorganize itself around that new frequency. A quantum leap happens when you stop defining yourself by your past experiences and begin defining yourself by your future possibilities. Instead of allowing your past to dictate your destiny, you start creating from a point of limitless potential. Your thoughts become more flexible, your emotions more elevated, and your actions more aligned with who you're becoming, rather than who you've been. This process requires learning to be comfortable with uncertainty, because you're literally stepping into the unknown. Your old reality had familiar markers, predictable patterns, and known outcomes. The new reality is uncharted territory that reveals itself as you move forward with trust and clarity. What makes this quantum leap sustainable is your ability to hold your new frequency, regardless of what's happening around you. When old situations try to pull you back into old reactions, you consciously choose to respond from your elevated state instead. When familiar problems arise, you approach them from your expanded awareness rather than your previous limitations. The beauty of quantum leaps is that once you make one, you realize you can make more. Reality becomes far more fluid and responsive to your conscious participation. You stop seeing yourself as stuck in certain conditions and start seeing yourself as the conscious creator of your experience. The reality you're stepping into doesn't just improve upon your old one. It operates by entirely different principles. You move with support instead of fighting against resistance. You attract aligned opportunities instead of forcing outcomes. Rather than feeling separate from what you want, you embody the frequency of already having it. Your physical body is much more than flesh and bone. It's a sophisticated antenna that receives and transmits information about your changing inner state. As you move into this new reality, your body becomes both a detector of change and a tool for anchoring it into your lived experience. Lately, you might have noticed unusual sensations that don't fit neatly into standard ideas of health or illness. Perhaps a lightness in your chest, as if something heavy has been lifted, sudden bursts of energy, or deep moments of peace when time seems to stop. These aren't random physical events. They're signs that your nervous system is reorganizing itself to operate at a higher frequency. Your body is literally upgrading its capacity to hold and express your expanded consciousness. Some people feel tingling in their hands or around the heart. Others notice changes in sleep patterns, needing less sleep because they're energized in new ways, or sleeping more deeply as their system integrates major shifts. You might find certain foods no longer appeal to you, while others suddenly feel essential. What is your body telling you about this transition that your mind might be missing? Are there new impulses, moving differently, breathing differently, spending time in different environments? Trust these physical cues, even when they don't make logical sense. Your body often knows what your evolution requires before your conscious mind can catch up. If you feel pulled to spend more time in nature, honor that. If you suddenly crave more stillness or more movement, follow that guidance. Your body is becoming a more refined instrument for navigating reality. The more closely you listen to its subtle communications, the more reliably it will guide you to stay aligned with your highest possibilities. Resistance is the enemy of transformation. When you try to control how your new reality unfolds, demanding that it look a certain way or arrive on a certain timeline, you create interference that blocks the very changes you're seeking. Your old reality taught you that force and push were necessary to create change. This new level of consciousness runs on very different principles. Here, allowing and trusting are far more powerful than controlling and insisting. What are you still trying to control that might be slowing your transformation? Are you gripping certain outcomes so tightly that you're missing better possibilities trying to emerge? Are you so focused on how things should be that you're blind to how they actually want to become? Resistance often disguises itself as reasonable planning or prudent caution. You tell yourself you're being responsible when you're really being controlling. You convince yourself you're protecting your future, while in truth, you're limiting it to only what your current mind can imagine. This new reality wants to bring you experiences beyond your present capacity to conceive. It wants to connect you with people you haven't met yet, opportunities you don't know exist, and solutions you haven't considered. It can only do that if you make space for the unknown to enter your life. That doesn't mean becoming passive or abandoning all planning. It means holding your plans lightly, staying open to course corrections, and trusting that something larger than your individual will is arranging events in your favor. When you feel resistance rising, when things aren't moving on your timetable, when you feel tightness in your chest, the urge to force a conversation or manipulate a situation, pause and breathe. Ask yourself what you're afraid will happen if you let go of control. You'll often find your fears are rooted in old programming that no longer fits your current level of awareness. As you practice releasing control while maintaining clear intention, you'll witness reality organizing itself around your highest good in ways that surpass anything you could have planned. Joe Dispenza reminds us that 95% of our thoughts today are the same as the thoughts we had yesterday. That means 95% of our life experience will repeat, unless we consciously interrupt those automated mental patterns. Your new reality requires new thoughts, and until those new thoughts become your natural way of thinking, they require deliberate effort. The challenge is that your brain is designed for efficiency, not transformation. It wants to keep firing the same neural pathways because they're familiar and require less energy than creating new ones. What most people miss about mental reconditioning is this: it isn't about swapping negative thoughts for positive ones. It's about upgrading the entire operating system from which your thoughts arise. Instead of trying to think better thoughts from your old level of consciousness, you access thoughts that originate from your expanded awareness. When you catch yourself running old mental programs, worrying about the same things, doubting the same possibilities, rehearsing the same limitations, you reach a choice point. You can continue the familiar pattern, or you can deliberately direct your attention toward thoughts that match your new reality. This redirection isn't about forcing yourself to think happy thoughts when you feel constricted. It's about asking better questions that naturally lead to expanded thinking. For example, if this were already working out in my favor, what would I notice? If my future self were advising me right now, what would I do next? If I were already living from the outcome I desire, how would I feel and act today? The key to successful mental reconditioning is consistency without perfection. You don't have to catch every old thought or never have a moment of doubt. You just need to redirect your attention more often than you used to. Each time you choose an expanded thought over a limiting one, you strengthen new neural pathways and weaken the old. What makes this process sustainable is pairing your new thoughts with elevated emotions. When you think about your desired future with genuine gratitude, as if it's already unfolding, you generate a powerful chemical signature in your body that the brain reads as a real experience. That signature becomes your new baseline, making elevated thoughts feel more natural than limiting ones. Mental reconditioning isn't complete when you stop having old thoughts. It's complete when old thoughts feel foreign, like wearing clothes that no longer fit. You'll find yourself naturally thinking in ways that support your expansion rather than your contraction. Your inner dialogue stops being a source of limitation and becomes a source of power. Remember, every thought is a choice, and every choice is a chance either to reinforce your old reality or to strengthen the new one. Your new reality exists only in the present moment. You can't find it in memories of the past or projections of the future. Every second you spend mentally anywhere but now is a second disconnected from the reality you're trying to create. That's why transformation often feels elusive to people who keep wondering when their lives will change, instead of noticing how they're changing right now. They keep looking for their new reality tomorrow, while it's trying to emerge today. The present moment isn't empty waiting time between a past you want to forget and a future you hope will be better. It's the only arena where consciousness can create, energy can shift, and new possibilities can take root in your actual experience. How often do you find yourself fully engaged with what's happening right now, without thinking about the next thing on your list, without analyzing what just happened, completely open to what reality is revealing in this moment? When you anchor your attention in the present, you become available to the information and opportunities your new reality is constantly offering. You notice nuances in conversations, synchronicities around you, and guidance from your intuition that you miss when your mind is scattered across time. The gateway nature of the present moment means every moment carries the potential for a complete shift in your experience. You don't have to wait for circumstances to change or for more time to pass. The transformation you're seeking can arrive in your next breath, your next choice, your next moment of full presence. That's why meditation and mindfulness are so powerful during transitions. They train your attention to root itself in the only time change can actually happen. They help you catch yourself when you drift into mental time travel and gently return to the creative power of now. Your new reality isn't coming to you in the future. It's emerging through your conscious participation in this moment, and this one, and this one. Trust is the hidden ingredient that activates everything you've learned. Without trust, all the awareness in the world remains potential energy instead of kinetic. Trust is what turns possibility into reality. But if you don't yet see the full picture, what exactly are you trusting? You're trusting that consciousness itself is intelligent, that your expansion is being guided by something larger than your individual will, and that every step of this transition is unfolding with perfect timing, even if it doesn't look perfect from a human perspective. Trust doesn't mean blind faith or naive optimism. It means developing confidence in your ability to navigate uncertainty while staying aligned with your highest possibilities. It means believing that even if you don't yet know what will happen, you have everything within you to meet whatever arises. If you fully trusted that your new reality already exists in the quantum field, what would you do differently? How would you approach your relationships, your work, your daily choices if you knew, without a doubt, that everything was conspiring for your highest good? Trust becomes easier when you start gathering evidence for how intelligently your life has been arranged so far. Look back on challenges that felt devastating at the time, but led to unexpected growth. Notice how endings made room for better connections. Observe how closed doors redirected you toward opportunities you couldn't have imagined. That same intelligence is orchestrating your current transition, and it requires your conscious participation through trust. When you trust the process, you loosen your grip on control and make space for solutions and opportunities beyond your present awareness. The practice of trust is simple, though not always easy. It means acting from your elevated state, even when outward conditions haven't caught up yet. It means making choices aligned with your new reality, instead of your old limitations. It means saying yes to opportunities that feel exciting, even if they don't make complete sense yet. Trust is what stabilizes your new reality, so it becomes your lasting experience, rather than a fleeting glimpse of possibility. If you're still here, still listening, still feeling that pull towards something bigger than your previous limitations, then the change has already begun. This isn't a hoped-for possibility in some future you. It's a present reality you step into with every conscious choice you make. In the days and weeks ahead, the signs will become undeniable. You'll notice opportunities appearing where there were none before. Conversations will veer in unexpected directions that lead you to exactly what you need to hear. People will enter your life who seem to understand your transition without needing an explanation. Books will fall off shelves at the perfect moment. Songs on the radio will carry messages that speak directly to your situation. Even the challenges that arise will feel different, not like obstacles blocking your path, but like ideal training for the expanded version of you that's emerging. Your job right now isn't to figure out every detail of how this transformation will unfold. Your job is to maintain the frequency of your new reality while the outer world reorganizes around your expanded awareness. Stay present. Trust the process. Let your elevated state guide your choices. And when doubt creeps in, and it will, remember that doubt belongs to your old reality. In your new reality, uncertainty turns from fear of the unknown into excitement about unknown possibilities. Over the next few weeks, pay close attention to your body's signals. Notice which environments feel energizing and which feel draining. Observe which people leave you feeling expanded and which leave you feeling constricted. Trust these subtle communications from your system. Your body is becoming a more sophisticated navigation tool for staying aligned with your highest path. What you're experiencing today isn't information you'll forget tomorrow. It's an activation energy that will keep working in your awareness long after you finish watching. The quantum leap has been initiated, and there's no returning to the limited version of you who first clicked on this video. Even if your rational mind tries to minimize what's happening, your deeper awareness will keep building on this foundation. Your new reality isn't on its way. It's here. Not as an overnight, all-at-once transformation, but as a continual unfolding that grows clearer every day you remain aligned with your expanded awareness. Some days the change will feel subtle, like background music you can barely hear. Other days it will feel dramatic, like sudden clarity around decisions that used to confuse you. Remember, this transition doesn't require you to abandon everything from your old reality. It asks you to relate to everything from your new level of consciousness. Your relationships, your work, your daily routines can remain in place while being infused with entirely new energy and purpose. The most important thing to remember is that you don't have to earn this new reality or prove you deserve it. By recognizing it, you've already chosen it. Your only responsibility now isn't to move toward it, but to live from it. Act as if the transformation has already happened, because it has. The outer evidence is simply catching up to what's already true in the quantum field. Welcome to the other side. Everything begins now.